And then, despite reports of the undeniable success of charter schools in the state of Washington, graduates earning more money, owning more homes, the state of Washington just cut funding for charter schools big time. We have reaction from the director of the Washington Charter Schools Commission and some of the concerns being raised by folks with the WEA that basically don't translate to what the results have been for charter school graduates. Now to Washington's charter schools. We have about I think it's 4,700, 4,800, somewhere in there, students in Washington state public charter schools. There are 15 schools right now in operation. These receive public funding minus any local levy collections. So local levy connections. So say every student in your district receives, $18,700 per student in your district. Maybe you've passed a local levy. Say you live in Mercer Island, you live in Federal Way, you live wherever. Your local levy has given those students another, say, $2,000 every month that they get, or I'm sorry, every year that they get per student. So charter schools, even though they are publicly funded schools in the state of Washington, are not allowed to have any access to any of those local levy dollars. So students in charter schools automatically receive less funding. Now, state lawmakers in this 2026 legislative session that ended in March cut charter schools to the tune of $7.5 million in what they call enrichment funding for students. So the cuts impact all the students across Washington's 15 public charter schools, amounting to about $1,500 cut per student. And this forces potential cuts to programs and to staff in those schools. Now, I spoke to the Washington School Commission Director, Marcus Harden, in an interview earlier this month, getting his reaction to this. And here's some of what he shared with me.
I think at some point we just have to say, look, we're here. We have to stop doing this to the most vulnerable populations. According to the law, you've driven this law to say we're gonna be responsible and have these schools, a small niche of the public charter school sector that are going to serve all students, but particularly students who are at risk, which typically means Black, Brown, low income, special ed. And so to continually take away from them, well, one, not fund them equally. So that's problem one. Two, to continue to ask them to do more with less, with students who, by your definition, need more. And then to not even have it be a consistent budgeting piece. It calls into question, one, why we're even doing this. And then two, the values alignment with budget building. And so that's what I want. This consistent budgeting. I spent 15 years working for Seattle Public Schools. My school I ran for 3 years, was a private school. Now here at the charters, I'm a fan of whatever parents want and feel what's best for their students. I'm a proud graduate of Rainier Beach High School, right? Like I love my alma mater, right? I even call the basketball games there still. So, I want those kids to win as much as I want the kids down the street at RBLA to win. And the one thing I always try to say is like, the kids don't care, right? So, the kids that go to Rainier Beach and the kids that go to RBLA, they're going to be growing up together and they're going to be, in each other's weddings, in each other's college lives. And the fact that the kid at Rainier Beach is on paper worth more, $1,500 to $3,500 more than maybe their brother or sister who goes to that school down the street, who also has teachers that are asked to do more to get paid less. I think it's a crime. And if we're going to really talk about it, then we have to really push up public school in that way.
Now, earlier this month, we reported on a recent report that came out from advocates for charter school uh, directors, indicating that charter graduates are making more money and have much higher rates of home ownership than their counterparts who graduated from traditional public schools. So you've got these kids in traditional public schools getting more money than kids in charter schools, yet the kids graduating from charter schools are kind of having better life outcomes. This report was titled Turning the Tassel in Washington State. And it was really just designed to look at, okay, post graduation, 3, 4, 5, 6 years out after you've graduated, what's your life status? Where are you working? How much money are you making? Do you own a home? Are you in the way that pathway toward that? And according to this report, Washington charter school graduates are faring much better in those gauges of life than our students in traditional public schools and their outcome. Now, Vicki Murray is Washington Policy Center's Education Center Director. She is an admitted charter school advocate. She did that before she came to Washington in Arizona, where they have some of the most successful charter schools in the nation. And she says while Washington was late to the charter school game, if you will, because of all the pushback from WEA and some of the others that were opposed to charter schools. The objections, she says, you can't argue with the results anymore. So she says, we get all the more pushback, the better the outcomes for charter school graduates.
The success, sadly, in a largely monopolistic system is its downfall because you're making the status quo look bad. And charter schools are doing more with less. And that's the story we've heard again and again, state after state, city after city that has embraced charter schools. We see this pattern. In fact, there was recent research done across 9 major metropolitan cities in the United States. And it found not only were, as you'd expect, charter schools are serving predominantly low-income children, children with all sorts of special needs. And guess what? Charter schools that get less funding, these, for every dollar invested in a charter school, the return on investment averaged across those 9 cities is about $6.50
Wow.
compared to the return on investment for a traditional public school of $3 and change. So, I mean, the returns are just enormous, I think, and instead of fighting or denying or trying to squeeze them out, we should be looking at what charter schools are doing, because look at the charter schools we have in our state. They're serving, for example, teenage parents. They are serving, they're doing all sorts of incredible things. Children who would otherwise be left behind.
I did reach out to the Washington Education Association about their continued resistance to charter schools, and I did not receive a response.